indigents here since Santa Rosa Rural Cemetery was established back in 1854.
Yes, of course. As far as we can tell, you've accepted 200 indigents in the last 20 years. But it's hard to tell since record keeping's been rather lax. No harm done, really. These souls were penniless and without any known families, so no one cares. But the community appreciates it.
Well, unfortunately, the community's appreciation does not help us meet our budget. I must insist the county make a payment of $200 for the past burials before we can accept any more of your dead.
$200? That's half the cost of a new house. What could you possibly be thinking?
Why, those 200 graves are in Eastern Half Circle, and that is a desirable location. Santa Rosa Rural has provided a valuable service for 20 years, but it's long overdue the county pay for these burials.
Well, it just so happens that the county just purchased the 100-acre Lewis Murdoch farm north of town, and will be opening a poorhouse and a county cemetery for the indigent immediately. We will no longer need your cemetery.
10 years later. Supervisor, you may remember those 200 graves in our Eastern Half Circle we discussed 10 years ago?
Oh, yes, I do. What? Don't tell me. Now they want to vote?
Oh, come. This isn't Chicago. As I mentioned then, they are in a desirable location, and we have decided to relocate those remains as humanely as possible down below near the Moke section, even though it's soggy and prone to flooding.
As I told you, in 1874, these people were penniless and without any known families. No one really cares. But do what you want, but as long as it doesn't cost the county anything.
The time is now 1987.
All we want to do is build a new parking lot. I don't see why we have to go through all this brush and poison oak to count trees when we're just going to be cutting them down to have the paving begin.
One of the first steps to designing a new parking lot is to catalog all the trees in this plot. The number of trees, the species, and their sizes. The state requires the county to plant a replacement tree for every tree that it removes. We need this new parking lot for the county hospital and all the medical services that have been built up around it.
Don't you mean the community hospital?
Yeah, I suppose so. My family always called it the county hospital or the Sinead Hospital since there has been a county hospital on Sinead Road since the 1880s.
What's this? It looks like an old soup can filled with concrete with a number in it.
Oh, it's obviously a marker. Look around for some more, but don't move them.
Here's one, and there's one over there.
Oh, I see a couple more. There seems to be a whole grid of them. When we get this brush and undergrowth cleared away, I'm sure we'll find a whole grid of them, whatever they are. It says here we were in the old county cemetery. It opened in 1874. No one even seems to remember it existed.
How many graves are there?
It doesn't say. The records are pretty bad. Someone is going to have to spend a lot of research to find out the details about this cemetery. I wonder if this ends any plans for a new parking lot there.
The time is now 2003. That's you, Jerry. That's you.
Okay, oh, I was thinking she would lead me into it. Okay, sorry, you're first. Okay. We volunteers found over 1,500 of the soup can markers in the Sinead Historic Cemetery, and we've identified over 1,300 names of the people buried here. Unfortunately, we can't put the names and numbers together because of lack of records. Additionally, there are about 100 Chinese buried here because they could be buried nowhere else due to local prejudice. the cemetery was forgotten until I discovered it while researching for my book, Cemeteries of Sonoma County.
When the county bought the land for the new county cemetery adjacent to the Moak section of Old Santa Rosa Rural in 1943, the Shenate Historic Cemetery seemed destined to be forgotten. As the General Services Manager of Sonoma County, I was frustrated by the lack of funds for meaningful improvements. I was lucky enough to get a sign put up saying Old County Cemetery, but after that, it faded from everyone's attention again. Out of sight, out of mind, you might say.